pretty extreme in a very small area there. So we're going to go ahead and just treat this like it is a tornado, whether or not it is. Get into that low spot, College Heights, down to the south of town there. You need to go ahead and get into that safe spot in the UA Monticello campus. Go ahead and get into the safe spot. This will continue to move off down to the south. I'm going to go back in time just a little bit, and we started to see the wind product with this kind of really start to ramp up, and then it really ramped up. That's a lot of wind coming down out of that storm. Hopefully this is a sign that this storm may be trying to die, or perhaps it's trying to collapse, but we're not exactly seeing that yet. And there it is as it moves on down. I'm going to back out just to show you that it is entirely contained within Drew County. And the tornado warning is from just on the south side of Monticello all the way down into southern Drew County. So from Monticello southward and southeastward is where this is going to go. The details on this show it moving off to the southeast at just 30 miles an hour. And we'll put a track on this, kind of the leading edge of it there, moving south at 30 miles an hour. I'm just going the strongest part of this. And the Trafalgar, Montrose would eventually be in the path of this storm, but that's a little ways down the road in Cosgrove. We're really talking about kind of the rural areas down to the south of Monticello in Drew County. And there's highway, there's highway, well, there's 278 going into town. But we still see that we're really looking for a new radar return there. But I think there's a lot of wind along with this, and it could be rotating wind. There could be a brief tornado along the leading edge of it, but I think the wind moving out, a lot of tall pine trees down in that part of the world, and I think these could be, it could be a wind threat that could really knock a lot of trees down in a very narrow corridor right there. Rainfall-wise, it's obviously raining very hard in that area as well. I'm going to put this into motion really over the last 45 minutes. And you'll see how it approached Monticello. We've gotten pictures from there of a shelf cloud moving in. At some point, these storms will begin to die, but they're certainly not doing it just as of yet. But that is the tornado warned area, the red polygon there. So Monticello all the way down to Highway 35 that goes from Comento over toward Dermott, and Highway 425 as you go south down out of the county. But there's the reflectivity product, and I don't think we've had a new velocity product come in for quite some time. I'm looking at some other sources there, but the wind is really, really strong. Certainly at this distance from the radar, it's about 8,000 feet, but we think that that is probably translating down to the ground. So all along the 425 corridor there, south of town, College Heights, and the UA Monticello campus, all the way down. Midway route would be in the path of that, Pleasant Grove, Collins Lacey Road, and on down. We've been watching this storm for a while. It looked like it had some outflow with it, which would tend to make you think that it might begin to die some, but it certainly ramped up very quickly. We've had a report of a 36 knot wind gust, so a little over 40 mile per hour wind gust at Monticello. And it looks like just a little bit of a surge in what we call the rear flank downdraft of this with a little bit of a notch there, and it may produce a tornado just because of the wind coming down out of that storm and a little bit of an eddy effect on the north side of it, kind of winds swirling into a little bit of an area where the winds aren't flowing out, but just on the either side of it, kind of like if you have an eddy in a river. It could do that. We also have meteorologist Austin Burke here with me. And Austin, are you ready to go here?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
What's your thoughts on this storm here?
Yeah, looking like you were saying, just more of a maybe a damaging wind threat more than the tornado threat. Doesn't mean there isn't that potential there, but it would be towards, I believe, the College Heights area, just in southern areas of Monticello, right around Highway 425. This is moving kind of quickly at 30 miles per hour. Earlier, these storms were just parked over some of the same locations, so it was more of a flash flooding threat. Still continues to be that as well, but these storms, especially this one, has that potential of maybe producing a tornado down just to the south of Monticello there in Drew County. We'll play this out for you. Just kind of looking there, it is moving at about 30 miles per hour, so areas potentially in the path of this is Snyder at 536. And how'd you say that, Barry?
Montrose.
Montrose down
Yeah.
there, off towards extreme southeastern areas of Drew County by 545, if this continues to race at 30 miles per hour. So go ahead and get in your tornado safe spot if you live anywhere in the path of this. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Also been kind of relaying the National Weather Service chat, and they haven't really seen any strong indications that there is a tornado with this, but they have put a warning on this for the possibility of this may be spinning up quickly enough that there could be a brief tornado. That's why they went with the tornado warning there just to the south now of Monticello. Still, Barry, it's been 6-7 minutes, it seems like, since we had a
There's
a
no
run.
new, we have no new
Data.
no new scan of the velocity, the wind inside that storm. That's a little bit frustrating. So we're just going to, because this was a little bit ago, we're just going to tell you that it's already on down to the southeast of there.
And Barry, looking at, since we have phones and stuff, we can look at other options, but looking at radar scope, it really has broadened out now.
Okay.
And I really don't see much of a threat, not even a wind threat much anymore. So it looks like it might have peaked right around 278 there, and then west of College Heights, but now a little bit further down on 425, kind of south of 425. So I'll show you, this is an old radar image right here, or velocity image. The one I'm looking at now off my phone now puts that kind of area of wind just to the southeast of 425 there, so just around midway, just southeast of College Heights. But it has really broadened out, so I'm not seeing much of a tornado threat or even a damaging wind threat with this as well. Still tons of lightning. Get indoors, stay well away from windows. This is still a severe thunderstorm racing off towards the south and east. So still frustrating that we can't show you the latest images of what this storm is doing, but we'll continue to relay you the right messaging here with this storm in southeastern or southern areas of Drew County. So
I'm looking at the Entergy outage map, and it doesn't really, I don't see any outages around Monticello. Sometimes there is a bit of a delay, but none that I can see there. Okay, we do have the new velocity scan there, and if we can go to that, and it doesn't look nearly as strong as it did. And I think what happened there along Old Warren Road out to the west and southwest of town, I think you had a big amount of rain or wind really coming out of the bottom of that storm. And I think maybe the storm might be trying to collapse some. And that's probably why you saw such that area of wind. It could have been a microburst. You could have small spin-up tornadoes associated with that. But a burst of wind that just spreads out over a 1, 2, 3 mile wide area, and then it kind of goes away. That's why it's called a burst. It doesn't last a long time, but it can do considerable damage, and I think that may have been what happens. But you can see the last scan showed that big area of wind, and this scan really doesn't show it there as it crosses Highway 425 that runs north-south through Drew County. We'll continue with this. It is a tornado warned storm. Here's what it looks like as it moves on down through the county. So this is going to be it's still going to be a big wind producer, I think, but the prospect of a tornado, I think, is low, although it is tornado warned, so go ahead and get in the middle part of your house. But I think the wind threat is still there. And let's treat it like that. Treat it as you can go into the interior part of your house, away from exterior walls and windows. And we'll continue to watch this storm until the National Weather Service is confident that this does not have that tornado threat. But even after that, I think we'll have to watch this storm. They're not quite going to cancel it early. I think they see the same thing as we do, but not going to be canceled quite as of yet.
Barry, looking at the latest radar or velocity image coming out of radar scope, so that's a little bit ahead compared to what we're seeing on our software. It's even broadened out more, so I'm not really seeing any indication of strong winds.
Okay.
Nothing except for lots of lightning, heavy rainfall for central portions of Drew County, south of Monticello. So that's some good news. It continues to weaken rapidly, just as rapidly as it did potentially get tight enough to put that tornado warning there. So that's some good news, and hopefully it continues to downtrend in that way, and
Absolutely.
they can cancel this warning here in the next 5 minutes or so.
We will continue our news, our Channel 7 News at 5 will continue, or will start here in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to be continuing our coverage into that time, and then we'll have the news stories of the day. We do have other thunderstorms in the state that are producing wind. We're not going to discount the Drew County storm where the tornado warning is, but there's been heavy rainfall over in the western part of the state, and there is a big flash flood warning areas in Montgomery County and Polk County in the northern part of Pike County as well, even northernmost Howard County. And that is a big area of rainfall, already 1 to 3 inches of rain there, and there's still some areas that have gotten some really, really heavy rain and continue to. And the small rivers that flow through there, the Little Missouri, the Caddo, Washita River, are going to take a big jump with those storms moving through. All right, this is still our tornado-warned storm down in Drew County. National Weather Service says they're experiencing some internal computer issues, and National Weather Service in Memphis taking over operations for them, but they'll be looking at the same thing that we are looking at as well. And this is a tornado warning. It is technically supposed to be in effect until 5:30. I feel quite confident that it will not be in effect until 5:30, and we will be starting our newscast here in just a moment or two. That's when the National Weather Service gives us an indication that the tornado warning will be dropped. But we're going to go right back. Weather is our top story tonight at 5 o'clock, and it's not just these storms, which the storms western Arkansas and southeast Arkansas will begin to die here, I think, in pretty short order. Within a couple of hours, I think we're going to see just a remnant of these storms, but the heat then becomes a big, big story. As far as the velocity with this storm, again, we don't have any new products at all. They're really, really old products here, and I don't know why we're not getting those. But you can see on the reflectivity, the leading edge of that storm is making its way into Pleasant Grove Road, Collins Lacey Road, Comento. If you're in that area and you see the storm coming, you know that it's a ferocious-looking storm, and it will continue to have some heavy downpours of rain and the possibility, I think, of some strong straight-line winds. We just saw a little bit earlier, though, that real burst of wind. And I'm going to go back and show you what we're talking about here. It was just a couple of scans ago, and you can see right there to the west-southwest of Monticello, those bright, bright areas. I think that was big-time wind and maybe a real downburst of wind out of that, as you might expect, within a couple of scans, then really lessened a whole lot. They don't generally last long, but I think you could see some damage down there. I think you could see trees pushed over with that area, and the National Weather Service chose to go ahead and make it a tornado warning. And it is still in effect. And so as long as the tornado warning is in effect, we always stick with these storms. But we are seeing a good trend, meaning that we don't think the wind component of this storm is quite what it was.
Also, Barry, seeing a couple more power outages in Drew County, but only 87 outages reported, so not a significant amount, especially for an area like Monticello. So maybe just some strong winds that maybe knocked a tree branch down, or a lightning strike that could have caused some power outages. Not really indicative of a tornado with just 87 power outages, but still monitoring the situation there as this storm continues to be tornado warned until 5:30. But like Barry has said in the last couple minutes, is that it really has weakened quite a bit here in the last 10 to 15 minutes, but they still do continue that tornado warning for 31 more minutes. But the National Weather Service in Memphis is kind of taking over, as they have some computer issues there at the National Weather Service in Little Rock. But what you're looking at is that storm is kind of weakening there, broadening out there just south of Monticello, Highway 425. You've seen the last couple of scans just around, I think that's 428 there. It has really, it kind of had a stronger wind signature there just to the southwest of Monticello near the College Heights area, but now kind of broadening out and maybe just a wind threat. A lot of heavy rainfall, lightning just to the southeast of Monticello. That's the good news. Monticello, even though you're still in the tornado warning, you're out of the clear. That area of broad wind and rotation is just towards your south. This is more of a central to south Drew County issue now as this tornado warning still continues. So get in your interior part of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and we'll still continue to track this until the National Weather Service does pull the plug on this here, hopefully rather shortly. Barry?
All right, yeah, there was just a very tiny risk of severe weather with this, but this time of the year, you do have a tremendous amount of water up in those thunderstorms. And at some point, when the storms can't sustain that water and they begin to die somewhat, you can have a big area of water that falls out in the form of heavy, heavy rainfall, and then the downburst of wind as it cools the atmosphere and then pulls the wind down out of that storm, called a microburst. I think that's maybe what we have seen there. But it was certainly a big wind producer, whatever the cause of it was. We can see the very low risk really continues for just a little while longer from west central to southeast Arkansas. But it's just a couple of storms, and even those ones in western Arkansas are not wind producers, but they are rain producers. But our concentration still goes now to the southeast of Monticello. Monticello, you're on the back edge of this, and it goes into the Comento community there along Highway 35. And yeah, the velocity data is just really slow. So we're just going to have to kind of let you know that it is moving along the leading edge of that. Down to the southeast of Monticello, there still is a wind threat there. I think we may have gotten a new one. Yeah, there's still there's still some wind with this off to the east of Highway 425.
Yeah, and latest image still not really showing much of a tornado threat anymore, but still damaging winds, maybe 50, 60 mile per hour winds in this storm. So that can,
marginal.
That can do some tree damage, some power damage and stuff, so definitely want to stay indoors. This storm is still severe, even though there's still a tornado warning on it. Severe winds are still the biggest concern with any strong storm this early evening. So reading the National Weather Service here, and they're just saying that the National Weather Service in Memphis is taking over for Little Rock. So still waiting to see if they're going to pull the plug on this warning here shortly. It still continues till 5:30, and this is just Drew County and south of Monticello and east of Highway 425.
Yeah, on down to the southeast there, Ashley and Chico County, be aware that you may have a severe thunderstorm warning that is issued for this. I don't think the tornado warning will be reissued for it, but it is at least possible anyway. And power outages right now, gosh, they aren't going up much. There's the CNL Electric Cooperative in Drew County has 67 out, and Entergy 22 out. So it doesn't look like there's been a widespread power outage with this unless we just aren't getting the reports updated. But here's what's happening right now. The leading edge of this, I'm going to go back to the reflectivity. This is just rain, and there could be a little bit of small hail with this, but wind is our big threat with that. It's just a little swirl in the atmosphere there that really ramped up very quickly, and then it began to die very quickly.
They continued the tornado warning, Barry?
Yeah, they're going to continue it for now. We're getting a long way away from the radar site right now, so it's very difficult to see. We're up at an elevation of almost 10,000 feet where the winds are indicated now. And we don't know for sure if those winds are translating down to the ground. Again, that's just one of the limitations of being a long way from a radar site. We'll go out a little bit, and we'll see what the Jackson, Mississippi radar has with this. Looks similar from there, but again, it's a long way away, and wind-wise, yeah, you can't tell a whole lot from that. But this is the Little Rock radar site. Still some wind, I think more on the southern and southwestern part of this tornado warning in Drew County. If you're in that area, small community of Liddell, Valley Junction, Youngstown, Pleasant Grove Road. We're not sure that this has a tornado at all, but it does have the wind potential with it. Let's get inside, out away from exterior walls and windows. And if in Monticello, if you can safely take some pictures and send them to us. Don't put yourself in harm's way at all, ever. But if you have photos of any damage that occurred, perhaps west, southwest side of town, send those to us via chimein@katv.com or upload them via the KATV News app. We would love to see kind of ground verification if we did not have any damage with that. Again, this is what it looks like. The leading edge continues down there. This is still a large thunderstorm, plenty of lightning, obviously, as well. It's from Comento down to Collins, 2 small communities along Highway 35 in Drew County. And then eventually this would move not very fast, about 30 miles per hour toward Dermott. This tornado warning is kind of different than a tornado warning that we might see in the springtime. The mechanisms in the late spring, early summer are just a little different. The upper level winds are really not as strong, so you don't have large, long track tornadoes, but you do have the wind potential, and you can have brief, smaller tornadoes that do damage. And so that's what we're looking at, and we'll continue to watch this and monitor the National Weather Service. Weather Service in Memphis, which has now taken over for Little Rock, says the storm in Drew County has come down considerably in the last 3 scans. They're looking to drop the tornado warning soon, and then they will reevaluate for Ashley and Chico County on down the road, which would be out in advance of it. And so I'm just going to pull back here, show you that this storm will be moving off to the south of McGee, but toward Dermott and Highway 165. Kind of that corridor would be next, and Jerome and Montrose and Portland, all of those would be kind of in the path of this storm in its weakened form. And the Weather Service has kind of agreed with us that this is not the storm that it was just a little bit ago, and that's not unusual because they tend to die somewhat. Normally we are on our Channel 7 News at 5 newscast at this time, but with a tornado warning in effect, we're going to stay with it until such time that the National Weather Service drops the tornado warning part of this. And then we'll go into our newscast. We'll start with coverage of this, and then we will go into some of our top news stories of the day. Do you have some video there?
Yeah, I was going to
say,
you can take Max 1, and this is a video sent to us from Tony. This is out of the Monticello area. This was that leading edge of that storm as it was approaching Monticello there. You can see just that shelf cloud kind of extending on that leading edge there. You got those greens, usually indicative of maybe some very heavy rainfall, maybe some small hail with this storm. This was earlier. Anytime you have any pictures, and like Barry said earlier, do it safely. Send it to us at katv.com/chime-in. It's always a great source to show y'all what is going on in those locations where the storms are impacting, and also relaying information to the National Weather Service on what you are seeing as well. So we always thank you when you can send us these pictures and videos safely to us. So National Weather Service, like you mentioned, hopefully dropping this tornado warning soon.
Yeah, they'll continue to maybe just a couple of more scans with it. But meanwhile, if you're in Drew County, go ahead and get into that interior part of your home. And certainly there is wind potential with this. That's the greatest potential. Although it is tornado warned, high winds can do every bit the damage. The velocity product just really isn't showing anything much there. So we just have to kind of rely on the reflectivity product, which, again, we're getting a long way away from the radar site. This is looking up at 10,000 feet, and it is almost, well, it's about 90 miles away from Little Rock radar here. The National Weather Service continues to look at this.
They're going to drop it soon.
And they are going to drop it just momentarily. All right, so that is what the National Weather Service is going to do with this storm. We will tell you that we will be just momentarily here beginning our Channel 7 News at 5 programming right after when we do pitch to break here. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll go into our newscast, and we'll be back again starting with a rundown of where the storms are in the state right now, and then a brief look at your forecast ahead, which includes a lot of heat and humidity. And we'll wait just for the final word from the Weather Service on dropping that tornado warning in Drew County. But for right now, just know that that's still a strong storm in that part of the state. We just think it was much stronger when it was back up toward Monticello. Thank you for your pictures, for your information there, and for following us here for this severe thunderstorm and tornado warned storm over the last 15 minutes or so. We really do think all of these storms are really going to begin to diminish as we head into the next hour or two, even the ones that are big, heavy rain producers over in the western part of the state. But be careful. Don't drive in any water that you don't know exactly that it is not deep enough for your car to go through. All right, tornado warning is canceled. We'll send you to break right now. Still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Drew County.